Hi, everyone. It is May 28, 2024. I hope you're all feeling okay. I hope you're not in line of these friggin' storms. Texas. Oh my God. Oklahoma Panhandle and Colorado, Northeast, New Mexico. Doesn't look good. I hope you all stay safe. I will put the link to this radar site in the chat. I hope you're all bookmarking it when you see these little red circles manifest on did it go through? Yes. On radar, you might then want to check the tornado tracker, which is an alert site. The link is in the chat. Severe weather all over. Never stops. Obvious weather wars. But hey, the obvious is really pretty much lost on most people. That's upsetting. And I ask this question because the question of, does anyone feel well consistently anymore? And I can't say, since my whole medication debacle, shall I call it, catastrophe that, wow, dumped my life into a whole new world. It also dumped my physical health into a whole new world. But I've been able to deal with that. I don't generally get sick, but I can feel a lot of pain, yada yada, exhaustion, that kind of stuff. But sick, stomach, feeling like I'm going to get a fever, that kind of stuff. But I've been feeling that way now ever since I got back from Texas. And I'm going to say pretty much every day. Not every symptom comes every single day. But I am not liking this. I was in bed most of the day. That is very hard for me because I just don't like hanging out in bed. But I feel shaky. And a headache again this morning. So I'm not putting that out to play my little violin. I'm putting it out really wanting to know if anybody feels okay. Now, those I see around here, nobody does. I hardly talk to anybody anymore, so I can't speak to that. Going out and about, I do observe behavior in people. I observe them out and about. And frankly, I don't see Americans as looking healthy. So how are you doing? Because we are subjected to so many toxins. And, you can't find life-sustaining water. You can't find life-sustaining food. You can't find life-sustaining air. And I think that we're going to see more and more people getting seriously ill, more people dying. And this is what we live now because an awful lot of people just want to focus on themselves and not want to engage in conversation about the bigger picture that we're all being filmed in. So this is not good. But do you notice all of these storms are in a line? Yeah. You notice all of these blips of precipitation. It's, you can check out my nanotechnology videos on Rumble. They may also be on Never Lose Truth. Check out the weather modification playlist. So, hello, Alicia and Blues du Jour. There's really no safe place anymore. whether it's Texas, whether it's Arizona, whether it's Montana, whether it's Maine, we're all getting slammed. Some, absolutely, they are getting slammed harder than others, like Texas and Louisiana and Oklahoma, and a whole lot of states. You live outside of Amarillo. Wow. M. Tashunka B. Outside of Amarillo. Ooh, that's not good. Amarillo is somewhere around here, right? I guess they call it the Texas Panhandle, Northwest Texas. Yeah, you're getting some pretty heavy storms. As far as the tornadic activity and the hail, I don't see much of that, but that could change in an instant. No. Is Amarillo this far down? Because I don't think so. I don't know. You're going to have to answer my questions about this, but we've got one spot here. Let me bring up the map. Little further up. But I mean, this is not the way to do it. I'm doing it by eye. This doesn't look good. This looks like those baseball-size hailstones coming down. So if I'm seeming off, I am. I'm still not feeling okay. All right, that doesn't look good. No, it doesn't. So that's, oh, is it the Lubbock? Is that how you pronounce that? I've always had to ask and I can't remember. Area. But that doesn't surprise me because they get hit often. Gotta wonder about that NEXRAD radar. You gotta wonder about the weather modification going on that is conducted by your state, Texas Weather Modification Association. You can check it out. But they have an awful lot of this weather modification going on. Go to their site. It's easy to find, Texas Weather Modification Association. And they literally tell you where they are conducting weather modification. And a whole lot goes on right up in this area, Northwest Texas, Lubbock area. And Amarillo as well. All right, so you know, my thoughts are with you. I don't even know what to say anymore. Just be prepared for anything. Wow. All right. Geofactor 3, you can't, or to answer your question, no. Yep. This is not the way life should be. Justin Wynn. You're going for an interview on Thursday? Yes. Okay. Please let us know. I don't Thursday night or Friday how it went. I hope it goes really well. I hope you get the job. So Agnes and Sith Trish. All right. I know that I asked you where you lived, what area, and you told me. And that was probably yesterday or 2 days ago, and now I can't remember. I'm sorry. A lot of information comes and goes through my mind. So Sith, could you tell us again, please? I can't believe that I can't remember. That's... Is it in Texas? You had torrential rain, high winds this morning, and trees down throughout your neighborhood. We have roof damage, and water was coming in through our baseboards in the north. I'm really sorry that I can't remember where it was. But if you could just... If you hear exasperation, it's at myself, no one else. Sandra, hello. Taylor Noose, hello. Michelle Roos, hello. Yeah. When things get very obvious, it just turns life surreal. So the north side of your house, I hope it's not really bad damage. Rage Against the Machine, hello. Miss Blanche and Patricia White, Jay Wooms, Donna Davidson, Rick Yorkin, and Louisiana Skywatch. Hi. Okay. I hope you have a good night at work. Carol and Oracle 11, Super Painting 62, Silent Walk, they have a lot of windmills in northwest Texas or that panhandle area. Well, just driving through Texas, but driving through Kansas and driving through a lot of these states, you see, you come across the windmill farms. Let me see if Sith answered. Not yet. Yeah, Alicia. You feel different, you have headaches, feeling like you're running a fever and dizzy. My ears ring and hurt a lot. Donna Davidson, you're constantly tired. Overall, people do look sick. Yeah. What a flippin' shame. Yeah, let's take a look at the power outages. Wow. Over 100,000 without power. Big over. Nearly, it's like, oh God. Over 750,000 in Texas without power. California, 11,224. Missouri, 11,807. You got Kentucky, at least they got the power on for many, but 40,332 still without power. Arkansas, 28,815. And Louisiana, 10,600. But a whopping 760,554 without power in Texas. They are bringing this all on deliberately to you all. Wow. Okay. Rage Against the Machine, Elizabeth. Hypocrites Matrix, Mona Henderson. Alright, so if I've missed some of you, I apologize. Alright, did I refresh this? I think I did. Alright, so they might be weakening these storms, and may they just continue to weaken these storms so that nobody has to encounter severe damage, even though, I will say, does it really matter if there's a tornado warning or not? Oh, look, and now we have a frequency hitting this area, Lubbock, right there. All right, well, we've got another hail area, northwest of Lubbock. Boy, oh boy. And yeah, nobody's going to be talking about any of these frequencies. You know, the weather, the YouTubers who are meteorologists, they never, ever mention any of the, well, let's say, anomalies that they must see on radar. Look how straight-lined this becomes. This storm down here. It's not natural. All right. So we'll go to weather first. Hi, Mama Rages. Thank you very much for showing up. Wow. All right, so. Oh. Here we go.
Arkansas, many are assessing the damage while many are still trying to piece their homes back together. Michael Hoffman joins us near Piatt, Arkansas. He's been assessing the damage in Boone and Marion counties. And Michael, how's it looking down there?
Well, Francis, all you're going to have to do is take a look behind me. If you can't see it, I'm going to step behind the camera, bump up my light a little bit just
I don't know if you caught that this is in Missouri,
so you guys can actually get a better look at what I'm looking at over here. Now, the roof and walls have been torn off of this home and scattered to the wind. The family that's lived here for nearly 50 years now will sleep in a camper after the National Weather Service says a presumed EF3 hit the area.
You know, things happen for a reason, and God was with us and kept us safe, and that's all that matters to me.
In the early hours of Sunday morning, powerful storms came down on northwest Arkansas, leaving twisted metal, downed power lines, and damaged homes in its path of destruction.
My family's on this farm since 1939. Never, ever had a tornado. Nothing. And this morning at 4 a.m. it came through and it took everything we had.
The Coatney family used to live here. That is, until early Sunday, when they say their mobile home was ripped out of the ground and thrown more than 300 yards away. They walked me through what used to be their home and is now just a stack of cinder blocks. They say they went to safety with just minutes before their home was destroyed.
I don't think we'd have made it through it if we wouldn't have been woke up from the phones going off with the weather alerts.
Others like the Nowlin family feel that pain. Shirley and her husband have lived here for 47 years. They raised their kids here, and now all those years of memories gone in minutes.
You see it on TV all the time, but until it happens to you, you really don't understand, and you don't realize that you don't know where your next meal's coming from or where you're going to sleep, and it's just a lot to take in.
But out of that destruction for both the Nowlins and the Coatneys, they're thankful. Thankful for the help their friends, families, and many strangers were able to lend.
The more
Yeah, until it happens to you, and a whole lot of people think it'll never happen to them, And it's such a shame that it happens to others. More and more are being spun out of that category. But you really can't understand devastation until you live it. It hurts, boy.
You know, when we see a natural disaster on this scale, one thing you can count on is seeing the very best of North Texas shine through. And we can't even count all the ways the community has been stepping up to help those in need. Volunteers have been coming to drop off just about everything from food and water to clothes and household supplies. The city has put out a list of specific items they need, and they're collecting it all at the community center on Lee Street. The list includes flashlights, batteries, bug spray, sunscreen, toilet paper, Depends, diapers, and brown paper bags.
I'll post the link to this video. Not that I'm saying you should donate to any of these organizations, but considering how many weather events that have taken place on a daily basis for weeks now, there's an awful lot of people that are living nearby that they could pick up some of these things. They could make sure that whatever it is that they're donating, that they're actually donating to people that will either give the people who are in need those donations or give the people in need directly. Yes, we all need to do that. But this was not.
I don't know how long it's going to take us to clean it all up.
Surrounded by mountains of debris,
The animals were just everywhere.
Todd and Lisa Smith are trying to pick up the pieces.
I just don't know what the future holds.
What used to be their barn and greenhouse, now unrecognizable.
Everything started hitting the house. We just started just pounding.
As an EF3 tornado destroyed their home, barns, along with 200 other homes and structures in Valley View,
This is the tub right here.
the Smiths held on to each other and their dog in the bathtub.
Shook the house, shook the tub, shook the bathroom.
They just kept saying it over and over. Please, Jesus, save us.
The farmers survived. Several of their animals, including a horse, didn't. Trailers tossed around, overturned. Every structure Todd built, destroyed.
We walked to the back and saw that all that was gone, and it hurt.
The livelihood they spent 20 years building
It is a lot.
was ripped away in minutes.
The thought of having to rebuild it all again, I mean, I don't know if we've got the energy to do it.
But with overwhelming support of neighbors,
Feeling very, very loved from the community.
there's hope in second chances.
All right, I love you. Love you too.
Because that's what they got, a second chance at life.
We got each other, and there's families right over there that don't have that.
The Smith farm is no more, but with faith and each other,
Get up the next morning and keep moving.
they vow to
Get up the next morning and just keep moving. Now, I'm going to play some of this. You know, this rancher, along with his 34 cattle that died due to a lightning strike. This is the longest running video that I've found on this incident, and no one is questioning how it is that 34 cattle died during this lightning strike that killed the rancher. That seems odd to me.
A fun guy and a diehard cowboy. That is how a friend is remembering a Colorado rancher killed during a lightning strike. The strike also killed 34 of his cattle. Good evening, I'm Michelle Griego.
And I'm Michael Spencer. Thanks for joining us this Memorial Day. Mike Morgan died on Saturday on his ranch near Rand, Colorado. That's in Jackson County near Walden. Your reporter Olivia Young joins us live tonight in studio.
And Olivia, you talked with a family friend about this loss that has really hit the community hard.
It really has, Michelle. This is a very small, close-knit community, so much so that the statement from the sheriff's office included a personal note saying the victim was an outstanding community member and will be missed.
No one asks about the cattle. Am I the only one who thinks that that is a little odd? So, Phoenix, Arizona. People are dying. Just brutal. why America's hottest city is seeing a surge in deaths. Climbing temperatures are colliding with a lack of planning in Phoenix. Hundreds have died. Scorching pavement, blisters uncovered skin, pus oozes from burned feet, bacteria teeming wounds fester and under sweat-soaked bandages for people living on the street, and they may be the lucky ones. Are you kidding? Okay. Maricopa County. Relentless heat has led to 645 deaths. 645 deaths last year, the most ever documented in Arizona's biggest metropolitan area. The soaring number of heat mortalities, a 1,000% increase over 10 years, comes as temperatures reach new highs amid exploding eviction rates in the Phoenix area. That is true. Leading to a collision of homelessness and record-setting heat waves. All right. So, today, where I am, which is like 2 hours away from Phoenix, it was hot. Would I call it brutal? Yeah, because I'm so not used to this dry heat. It was 100 something. But no one else here calls it brutal. And they're just so used to it. But I will say that I have experienced water evaporating really fast. I've been noticing that. I noticed it in the other area of Arizona where I was living. I've noticed it here, along with my subscriber here, who also notices that you put out water for the birds and, other little critters. And then you look out a couple of hours later and it's half gone. And I put out water in this bathroom here for the cats. And I know that they're not drinking a tremendous amount of water, but I'm having to fill it up a whole lot more. Yes, I think that we are being dehydrated. And people are dying from dehydration. So, keep yourself very hydrated. But of course, you're not going to see Politico do any kind of real investigative journalism to find out that, oh, you mean man with his technology can create heat waves, can raise the temperature, atmospheric heating? No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to keep calling it climate change. Tons of trash. Now, I don't know about you, but I have come across many videos from all over the country. The lakes, the rivers are just trashed. What's going on?
Storm drains lead into our waterways, and this is where it ends up. The Watershed Protection Department says this is up to 2 tons of debris and trash over a year that collect 40 tons.
Crews began the cleanup Monday. Thomas says it will take them 2 weeks to clean this up, as they have to hand pick it. Chadwick hopes people pay more attention when it comes to the environment so he and others can enjoy one of Austin's outdoor gems.
Rainfall. Thank you. Well, the sun is out and last week's heavy rainfall is long gone, but we're still
And this is in Texas as well.
seeing the impact at one of our city's most beautiful spots.
Thousands of pounds of trash and debris are piling up in Lady Bird Lake. And as KVU's Matt Fernandez shows us, 3 nearby creeks are partially to blame.
Beautiful day, you can't ask for more.
For Seth Chadwick, an avid fisherman, Lady Bird Lake is a time for him to turn off his phone to enjoy nature and wildlife.
There's tons of different kind of ducks and peacocks and all kind of different water birds and the water turkeys.
But lately he's noticed something else in the water, a especially near the Austin Central Library.
Pretty heavy with the trash. I've got a motor on the bottom of my paddleboard, and I'm pulling trash and weeds and stuff out of it more than I ever have coming down this side over here. And yeah, it's noticeable buildup down there for sure.
Styrofoam cups, plastic bottles, and other trash is littering the lake.
We just can't seem to keep anything clean anymore. Residents ready to move out of Houston complex after power problems. Okay, the problems, if you are wanting a solution, I hope you have a lot of patience, because solutions, resolving problems, does not seem to be on the uptick in our country. In fact, it seems to be, well, let's just say they have flipped the switch. No solutions coming your way. That's why community is so important.
The city still hasn't told us we can move back in.
Right now at 6, dangerous conditions unfolding at a local apartment community. Tonight, hundreds of people forced to relocate after it was declared unlivable. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Keith Garvin.
And I'm Lisa Hernandez. Daniela is off tonight. The city posting that notice after the Durham Heights apartments in the Heights hadn't had reliable water or power since the May 16th storms.
KPRC2's Gage Golding uncovered the story last week and has been advocating for residents every day since. He is live for us in the Heights with what residents can do if they're fed up and ready to move on. Gage.
Yeah, Keith, here's the deal. The law in Texas really favors the landlord, but the residents have one little piece of paper on their side. It's a notice from the city of Houston that says this property is unlivable. However, if any of these residents want to break their lease, they need to move forward very carefully.
I am 65 years old. This is more than I signed on for.
The weeks without power, no air conditioning, and no running water has driven Linda Corrett to be one of the many moving out.
By Thursday last week, I had to go ahead and find a place to live.
I don't see myself staying in a place that I can't even reach out with a simple question.
It took until Saturday afternoon for CenterPoint to flip the switch, turning power back on. CenterPoint waiting for electrical repairs to be done by the landlord. Now, even though power and AC is back on at most apartments today,
We actually are not supposed to yet because the city has not removed the inhabitability status yet.
it's that very tag that could be their ticket out of their lease.
I think a tenant can rely on that to break a lease.
Donna Carney is an attorney with Lone Star Legal Aid. She deals with renters' rights cases on a regular basis. Donna says do everything in writing.
We recommend that tenants go out of their way and pay for certified mail, return receipt requested. We also highly suggest hand delivery.
After that, move out.
From the moment the tenant has moved out, the tenant is entitled to a pro rata refund of the rent that they've paid and their entire security deposit back.
Same goes for repairs. Do it in writing and ensure delivery. Your landlord has 7 days to make those repairs.
That 7 days would start when the landlord receives the letter. Tenants have very few rights in Texas, but tenants do have some rights.
And knowing those rights can help you if you're ever stuck in a hot or a hard place.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. Wild video shows massive rock wall collapsing into Meads Quarry Lake. And I unfortunately didn't find out where it is. Tennessee.
Oh my God!
This place is gonna they're gonna
The quarry's falling apart. That's insane.
What's it doing?
The quarry's falling apart.
Really?
It's chunks of the damn thing are falling off of it. What in the hell is going on? Jesus Christ. Oh my God! What the? Oh, we better back the fuck up, bro.
Oh my God, my friend's in there. Can you hold this dog?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, don't get in, don't get in. Oh my God. All our boots are gone. All our boots are gone. Oh my goodness. They look too loud. You got the dog. Yeah, I got a dog.
How did you get the dog?
She ran in to get her friend.
Oh, baby. It's okay.
Hey, buddy, you good? You good? Hey, y'all hang on tight now. I cannot believe I just got that on video. You can go see if any of our salvageable. Hey, it's okay, buddy. Hey, buddy, it's okay. Oh my God, are you good? I bet that was kind of scary, wasn't it? You good though? You all right?
You were underwater. I know.
Hey, you all right? You all right? You good?
Thank you for holding me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to do it. You want the handle? What you just did was badass. That was badass. Hey, you good?
I know. I know.
There ain't no way that just happened.
Is everyone else okay? I don't know.
I think so.
Does someone like...
Wow. If you haven't been to these quarries to swim, they're incredible. They're like gigantic water holes, swimming holes that I loved it when I was in the Northeast. Loved just having places to just jump into cool waters when it's really hot. But what the hell? Look, you know, I don't know if I'm right or not, but my speculation is always there are so many places that are getting hammered with extremely low frequencies. So, not that this quarry, you know, do I think it was attacked purposely? No. But could it have been hit with these frequencies and then it weakens the wall structure? Of course. Of course. The destruction is just, you know, you got the primary destruction, then you get the secondary destruction, and destruction all over now. So I received this from a subscriber. I'm going to play it out. It's 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And the Met Office talking about, you guessed it, the geoengineering. This is what makes it so surreal. My generation baby boomers should know. Every one of them should know the craziness that has taken place in the sky. Every one. Every one. And they should be educating their kids. This is not what the skies used to look like. We used to have a yellow sun. Now we have a bright white lead light that is so intense that you can't even be in the sun for more than 2 minutes. Oh, all of those lines, we never saw that. How about those squared off right-angled clouds? No, never saw that either. How about severe weather every single day, 24/7? Never had that. Severe thunderstorms, tornadic activity, hurricanes, inland. No, we never had that. fact, we had thunderstorms that we saw rolling in. Remember that? And it was a humid day and it was hot. And then you'd see the thunderstorm, the dark clouds rolling on, and then the deluge of rain that I loved being inside of. It was great. Then after the thunderstorm, the air was so clean. The humidity lifted. Remember that? Baby boomers, absolutely, 100%, all of them should know. Unless they were so disconnected from nature. And if you're disconnected from nature, you are disconnected from your own self and disconnected from all of the people around you. The changes have been radical and obvious, and it so pisses me off. Suppose it will, until the fat lady sings.
Geoengineering is a method to counterbalance the effects of global warming owing to the increased concentrations of atmospheric greenhouse gases. Geoengineering or climate engineering generally falls into two specific categories. The first of which is called carbon dioxide removal, which, as the name suggests, is basically capturing carbon from the atmosphere and storing it. The second method is what's known as solar radiation management. Now, solar radiation management differs from carbon dioxide removal in that what you're trying to do is reflect an additional amount of sunlight back out to space. So solar radiation management is basically trying to reflect sunlight back out to space, leading to a cooling to counterbalance the increases in greenhouse gases. There's been various different solar radiation management schemes that have been mooted as being possible, all of which are basically trying to reflect sunlight back out to space. One of the most popular is to inject some reflective material into the stratosphere. This mimics really the impact of volcanic eruptions, which have been shown on the observational record to cool climate. There's another method which is artificial brightening of low-lying stratocumulus clouds. If you inject some aerosol into these low-lying stratocumulus clouds, you can brighten them. And of course, when you get a brightening of the planet, you're reflecting more sunlight back out to space. Those are the two most popular solar radiation management techniques that are in the press at the moment. Carbon dioxide removal is often thought of as a relatively benign kind of geoengineering because you're simply reducing the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It's not quite as simple as that because a lot of the land that would be used for general agricultural practices like they are at the moment would have to be converted into land for specific growing of biomass burning. So there's certainly some ecological implications that are associated with CDR. Solar radiation management, the main conclusions that are coming out of the solar radiation management studies is that you cannot get a no temperature change Earth, no global mean net temperature change, without there being some regional side effects. So although you can hold the temperature of the Earth fixed at, say, present day conditions, you will get regional responses in both temperature. For instance, the poles will warm up more than the equator, and you will also get impacts on precipitation.
Oh, thank you for the education. Thank you. Now tell them the truth. This is getting crazy. Summer and tropics colliding together. Look at his face. Oh boy, more severe weather coming. Oh, okay. It's just what we live now. I'll post a link if you want to watch it. You know, they're not talking about how they've pretty much destroyed the jet stream. And how they can move air masses around. No, we're not going to talk about that. Weatherman Plus, no. Don't you do that. You've got a lot of subscribers there. You might lose some. United Airlines plane catches fire at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Oh, Flight 2091 from Chicago to Seattle. This is unbelievable. They're not saying it was a Boeing. Everybody off the plane. I know one person who's going to be flying in the next couple of weeks, not in our country, but in another country to another country, and I hope they are looking into whether or not it's a Boeing. The plane was towed to the gate. Passengers deplaned normally. No injuries were reported. They're making alternative travel arrangements. At this point, who the hell would fly? I mean, this really... Well, they don't want people flying, so is this part of the agenda to get people to stop traveling? It could be. And here we go. Sorry to say, you guys in the UK, Met Office warns the government of 50 days of rain in just 3 months as Britain braces for one of the wettest summers on record. This was brought to me by a subscriber in Scotland who said she had almost no days of sun. And that's what I'm hearing from another subscriber in Britain. Britain is bracing itself for one of the wettest summers on record. Forecasters predicting there could be at least 50 days of rain in just 3 months. And I'm sorry to say, but England is like New England when I was living in Massachusetts. All of the gray days. You know, the cloud coverage from horizon to horizon. All gray, day after day after day after day. And it went on and on and on. Now, I don't know. I think some of you are from the New England area. Drop a comment. Let us know. But that's what was going on when I was living there. Oh, you know, the 2000s up until 2012. A whole lot of gray days. So it's going to be wet, you guys. May that subscriber who's flying to another country to have a vacation have a really fabulous vacation of sun after sun after sun, day after day after day, because you're going to need it to get through your summer. UK Sunak vows mandatory conscription for 18-year-olds if he's elected. Well, that's a good, you know, campaign promise to run on, Sunak. I'm sure an awful lot of people will vote for you. What? Rishi Sunak has vowed to introduce mandatory national service for 18-year-olds if he is re-elected in his first major policy announcement since the start of the election campaign earlier this week. Oh, he's right out there saying it. The move is part of what he said was an effort to provide security and opportunity in an increasingly uncertain world. Too bad people just don't get that uncertainty is intentionally imposed upon us by people like Rishi Sunak. Britain should train a citizen army ready to fight a war on land in the future. That's what the head of the army said. So, yay, Richie! Oh, sorry, Rishi. It's not Richie. He's kind of like Richie Rich. Anybody remember that comic? So, yeah, conscription is coming back to Europe, but which EU countries have reintroduced compulsory military service? Germany is considering to reintroduce conscription. Hungarian news outlet reviewed which countries across Europe enforce mandatory military service. And I didn't get to read this article because I was in bed most of the day. All citizens in the Nordic country of Sweden, both men and women, indicate their willingness to serve in the military. How crazy can you be to serve in a Western military? Latvia reintroduced the system with all men aged between 18 and 27. Military service is compulsory in Cyprus, Greece, Austria, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Finland. I didn't know it was in Estonia. Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and Sweden again, and Cyprus again. I don't think they're doing any, I don't think people have proofreaders anymore. So, check this out. Denver, drones to be introduced for 911 calls. Just think, those drones flying above you. Will they be armed? Yes. Yes. But this is how they do it. You know, it's easy to fool Americans. Easy to deprive them of their liberty. Because they're just so fooled. Oh, they're just doing it for our security. Don't worry. Denver Police Department would respond to any call for service where someone is physically requesting a police officer on scene. But if there was a fight at Colfax and Cherokee, and we put a drone in the air, and there is no fight, and nothing causing traffic issues, then we would reroute our police officers to other emergent calls. And it's beginning to lift off. No pun intended. Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office, based in Centennial, Colorado, has been using the robotic flying devices since 2017. This really is the future of law enforcement at some point, whether we like it or not. You have no say. So, money is going around. Former hotel worker reveals why hotels are loving New York City illegal immigrant shelter program because they're making a friggin' fortune.
If you're visiting New York City, be ready to shell out more for a hotel room, if you can even find one, with so many being used to house illegal immigrants. The New York Times finding, quote, the conversion of hotels to shelters has sharply decreased the supply of rooms. About 135 of the city's 680 hotels entered the shelter program. Not a single one has converted back into a traditional hotel. And it seems not much has changed since last year when our next guest, a former hotel worker, revealed the shocking chaos inside the rooms where migrants or illegals are staying on the taxpayer dime. Carlos Arellano joins us now. Carlos, thank you for joining us. It was so fascinating last year when you came to us and as a whistleblower, kind of telling us what was going on in those hotel rooms. Obviously, a lot of chaos. You saw drunk children. But now we're looking, these hotels haven't converted back from shelters into hotels. It seems like it must be pretty lucrative for the hotels to have the illegal immigrants there.
Oh, definitely. And for many reasons, when you walk into these hotels to work at them, the main hotel staff is not doing anything. They're standing around, but yet they still charge the city for any little thing they can. And when you see 10 workers on the first floor of the lobby of the hotel, only 2 of them are really working. Meanwhile, the hotel will still charge the city for all 10 staff members. And you really don't know what's going on in there until you work in one of these places. But the costs just keep being driven up by the hotels. And I like to tell people, when you see someone like a politician on the news saying, oh, we regret this, we wish this wasn't happening, it's all lies. Everything from the politicians to the owners of the hotels, everybody's loving this because the money's just going round and round, and they're not going to want to stop it anytime soon.
Yeah, and they're not like regular hotel room, customers who maybe are demanding that things get done right away or that the hotel lobby be super clean. So they've got all these workers there, and they don't have to sort of operate to the standard that a normal tourist would want. Plus, people are having to pay for higher costs because supply is down, and so the hotel rooms cost more. But they're not just getting a free room, these illegals. They're getting prepaid debit cards. They're getting next day laundry service, free legal service, Metro cards, health insurance. What else do you want the taxpayer to know about this situation, Carlos?
Well, people like Salvation Army and the Red Cross are all inside of these hotels. So
they're in on it.
You see Salvation Army. You'll see them on room 315, 215, depending how the hotel is structured. And they'll be in there handing out vouchers. Each voucher will be worth $25, but when it comes to the city, they'll sell it for $50 to the city.
Yeah.
But the migrant can get up to worth $25 worth of stuff per voucher. So you think all these rooms are being used for migrants, but it's being used also for different companies who are charging the city. And the only person who's left out on this is the taxpayer who's funding all of this. But you think it's just the hotel staff? No, it's about 8 to 10 different companies that are working together in each hotel. And all of them are providing services that they're charging the city way too much for.
Carlos, you make such a great point. It's not just the hotels making money. There is a network of NGOs, a network of companies that are all profiting off of illegal immigration. And if our government was really proud of what they were doing, they would be fully transparent about it. We'd know exactly how much money, which companies, and they would show off all the good work they're doing. Instead, we have to find out what's happening through good citizens and whistleblowers like Carlos. Carlos, I want to tell you, I don't know what kind of grief you've been getting for being this whistleblower. I think you're a hero. I think you're an incredible citizen to this country. And I just want to thank you for shining a light on this, because too many of us are in the dark about what's happening, and our government's keeping us in the dark. And it's only little flashlights like yours shining a light on what's happening that's letting us know about this big scam, this big ripoff that's destroying our country, destroying the conditions in the city, making it harder for tourists and businesses to operate here, while a few are getting rich off of this. Carlos, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Ireland, Norway, and Spain. Historic decision to formally recognize a Palestinian state. Oh my God, what's happening? Palestinians, they deserve their own state? All right. Strong symbolic impact. Well, we're not going to see that in the United States, that's for sure. EU ministers mull sanctions on Israel? What? Really? Is this actually going to happen? I doubt it. Israel's military says it is investigating what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called a tragic mishap in Rafah. Yeah. The tragic mishap has been happening every day for months. Man. Can't believe Ireland formally announced recognizing a Palestinian state. Israel has blasted this grouping of countries calling for a Palestinian state as a reward for terrorism. The terrorist states, US, Israel, UK, France. Israel mocks Biden over Rafah warning. We are being ignored. So a lot of people think that this is the end to Israel, that Israel just completely ignoring all of the protests, ignoring Israelis who want the war to stop, ignoring their own evil that is so out there, making it so obvious that they actually have, I think it's Instagram or Telegram. Let's see. There's a Telegram group with 150,000 Zionist extremists who mock dead children. It's called 72 Virgins, and the IDF soldiers that are posting a whole lot of the unbelievably sick, morally decrepit, immature videos of themselves, you know, bombing schools, bombing universities, bombing homes, and then laughing about it, and far more vile that I can't even go there. But this is it. I mean, IDF Telegram channel celebrates slaughter of Gazans. So, yeah. They want to bring down the United States and Israel. Those in our government and the Israeli government. They couldn't be making it more obvious. They're bringing both of us down. Countries now ignore us without any fear, which I think is a good thing. The down it's going to be a real bang for Americans and Israelis. When you make obvious your evil to the world, nothing good can come of that. Nothing good. So let me just play a few minutes.
That he would not support Israel going into Rafah, and that he would cut off weapons to Israel if they did. And this got a lot of attention. This was him for the first time supposedly exerting U.S. leverage.
I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities, to deal with that problem. We're going to continue to make sure Israel is secure in terms of Iron Dome and their ability to respond to attacks like came out of the Middle East recently. But it's just wrong. We're not going to supply the weapons and the artillery shells used that have been used.
Artillery shells as well.
Yeah, artillery shells. And I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not.
So there it is. And now, a few weeks later, this is Jake Sullivan completely contradicting what Biden said and basically sounding totally incoherent in explaining what the U.S. policy is. He basically says there is no U.S. policy.
Said yesterday that Israel has addressed many of the U.S. concerns regarding its operation in Rafah. 900,000 plus civilians have fled Rafah in recent weeks. Has Israel addressed all of the administration's concerns? Does the U.S. support what Israel is doing in Rafah right now?
We had detailed discussions on Rafah during my visit to Israel. These have built on weeks now, as I've discussed with you from this podium, of discussions on a professional basis about Rafah and about how Israel can achieve the defeat of Hamas everywhere in Gaza, including in Rafah, while minimizing civilian harm. I explained to the Prime Minister and other senior Israeli officials the president's clear position. I reiterated that position. I was briefed by Israeli officials and by Israeli professionals on refinements that Israel's made to its plans to achieve its military objectives while taking care of civilian harm. What we have seen so far in terms of Israel's military operations in that area has been more targeted and limited, has not involved major military operations into the heart of dense urban areas. We now have to see what unfolds from here. We will watch that. We will consider that, and we will see whether what Israel has briefed us and what they have laid out continues or something else happens. And one of you asked me the last time I was standing at this podium, how are you going to judge this? And I said that there's no mathematical formula. What we're going to be looking at is whether there is a lot of death and destruction from this operation or if it is more precise and proportional. And we will see that unfold. And we will obviously remain closely engaged with the Israeli government as we go. That's how we see the situation right now.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, we played that clip last week, but it's something you have to watch again and again to really understand the depths of depravity and idiocy of this administration, and specifically the callow and inexperienced National Security Chief, Jake Sullivan, the best and the brightest of Yale University. He's going to monitor Israeli human compliance with human rights and the quote unquote laws of war by how much death and destruction they cause after they do it, and then retroactively apply what leverage. Yeah. We're going to let you go in, see how many you kill, how much you destroy, and then we'll make our judgment, because we don't have data. We don't have like the benefit of having witnessed what Israel just did over the past 231 days to know what they're going to do there. We don't know what their doctrine is. We don't know how they fight. We just give them these weapons, and then we tell all our lawyers to certify more arms shipments, like $200 million in munition, in tank munition. Sorry, $700 million in tank munitions alone, which the Biden administration just authorized to Israel. We actually confronted, our correspondent Liam Cosgrove confronted the Pentagon about this gigantic lie that the Biden administration has set some kind of red line around Rafah, or that it actually was pausing any munitions at all. And this wasn't just some performative sop to the base to try to hold off the revolt of the progressives and the youth against Biden ahead of his re-election campaign.
And it's so easy to find out that everything that they say is a lie. My God. Oh, red line is Rafah. Give me a flippin' break. All right. Yeah. Israel doesn't need any help in making the whole world go against them. Well, we don't need any help as well, because more and more the world is shifting. Power dynamics are shifting, and a whole lot of people hate Americans, and a whole lot we don't see. You know, the people protesting all the weapons that are being used, not only in Israel, you know, in Gaza, but all over the world. You see the protests, which I've shown on a couple of lives. There was a protest in South Korea wanting the U.S. to get the hell out of South Korea. I'm sure there have been protests in Germany wanting the U.S. bases out. We're all over the world. And a whole lot of people cannot stand us. And that number is just growing and growing. So think about all of those military-age men coming across the border from all of those countries that we have killed their innocent, destroyed their infrastructure. Yeah, this is going to be fun. No, it's not. Israeli and Egyptian troops clash. So Egypt has backed fully away from Israel. That's the last that I heard. And now their troops are clashing at the Rafah border, leaving one dead. Egyptian security forces fired on an Israeli truck at the Rafah crossing, and that immediately soldiers of the IDF responded with gunfire. Of course Israel blames. Look, every country is going to blame the other one. Never take any responsibility for any of the violence that they cause. Violation of the peace agreement with Egypt. You know, and other Arab nations have been talking about, and I can't remember, and I unfortunately ditched that whole window of news about that Israel-Palestine war, is it? You can't have a war when you have only one side with an army. The asymmetric killing, the asymmetric genocide that is taking place. So, but I can't remember the Arab nations that have been having conferences and saying, you know, that they're going to be forming a bloc against Israel. Who knows what's going to take shape? But yeah, you know, the IDF posting videos, this is obvious. The higher-ups have allowed this to occur. Why? Because they want an awful lot of anti-Semitism all over the world. They want the world hating Jews. The individual is so easily manipulated to go there because it's much easier and stupid to just blame a whole group of people for what is taking place, even when they see a whole lot of them have different opinions. A whole lot are against this war. A whole lot are speaking up against this. But they put this out. Unbelievable.
The IDF has been forced to admit that they have been running a propaganda channel on Telegram aimed at Israeli citizens that featured snuff films of Palestinians being murdered, dehumanized as insects and vermin, their bodies desecrated, and the destruction of Gaza glorified. Here are the details. The channel, named 72 Virgins Uncensored, celebrated everything from a Palestinian being repeatedly run over to a mother grieving over her son, to the destruction of places of worship and reduction of Gaza City to rubble. The existence of the channel has been known for some time. It was created on October 9th. Haaretz was the first mainstream outlet to cover its existence in early December of last year. Now, in that first report, they were able to cite a senior military official who anonymously confirmed that the IDF was in fact directing the channel. At the time, however, the IDF denied those claims. Now, in a follow-up, the IDF has been forced to admit that their own propaganda unit was behind 72 Virgins the whole time. Here is Haaretz with that reporting, quote, reversing an earlier denial, Israeli military officials have admitted that the Telegram channel 72 Virgins Uncensored was operated by members of a department of the Israeli Defense Forces Operations Directorate. The admission comes after Haaretz published an expose on the channel last month, which led to an internal investigation into the matter. The probe, conducted by Major General Oded Basiak, head of the Operations Directorate, found that the information that led to the original denial that the channel was operated by or on behalf of the army was incorrect and relied on misinformation relayed by members of the influencing department. In the wake of these findings, the unit's wartime commander is to end his military service. So now the IDF claims that the influencing department was in fact running the channel, but they were just freelancing, doing so without authorization. You can make your own judgments about how accurate this new version of the story is. Haaretz also documented some of the genocidal language, gore, and war crimes that were celebrated on this channel. Quote, an October 11th post read, burning their mother, you won't believe the video we got. You can hear their bones crunch. We'll post it right away. Get ready. Photos of Palestinian men captured by the IDF in the Strip and the bodies of what they describe as terrorists were captioned, exterminating the roaches, exterminating the Hamas rats, share this beauty. A video of a soldier allegedly dipping machine gun bullets in pork fat is captioned, what a man, greases bullets with lard, you won't get your virgins. Another caption was, garbage juice, another dead terrorist, you have to watch it with the sound, you'll die laughing. Analyst Knox Bilal has been tracking the content on the channel as well. According to Bilal, on 72 Virgins, you could find this video of buildings in Gaza being demolished. Each time one is reduced to rubble, the twirling menorah on the screen gets another candle. The caption reads, burn Gaza down. You can also find some of the images that horrified the world, but apparently delighted the Israeli audience of 72 Virgins. Men and young boys being detained and humiliated in Gaza. Here's what they apparently considered a hilarious post advertising a destroyed building as if it was luxury real estate. Gaza, 6 rooms, 360-degree view, spacious roof, street with lots of parking, exclusively for sale. For those interested, a pool can be added. LOL. Many commentators have been shocked by the willingness of IDF soldiers to publish TikToks advertising their war crimes and atrocities to the world. Incredibly, the shock was often at their willingness to publish these crimes rather than the commission of the crimes themselves. But here we have the propaganda unit of the IDF, itself running a snuff aggregation channel. It makes several things really quite clear. First, far from being ashamed of their war crimes, the IDF and the Israeli government want Jewish Israelis to know just how brutal they are actually being, how complete the destruction and annihilation and suffering. After all, remember that polls found only 1.8% of Israeli Jews thought the IDF were using too much firepower. Nearly 60% thought they were not using enough. And since the IDF can't actually accomplish any of their supposed military objectives, brutality is meant to substitute for success. After all, Hamas is not destroyed. The IDF has killed more of their own hostages than they have rescued. The tunnel system is largely intact and far from creating a shock in the population that would lead them to abandon their fight. The Israelis have only strengthened the logic of violent resistance among Palestinians. Domestically, Israel is suffering a tremendous economic blow and inching closer to outright global pariah status, having already been found to be plausibly committing genocide. Even the pathetic and genocide-abetting Biden administration, alongside the pathetic and genocide-abetting Sunak UK government, are considering unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state. Hamas is likely strengthened, and the security of the Israeli people has only been further compromised. So gore, horror, and incitement to genocide are proffered as a way to cover for the abject systematic failure to accomplish any of the supposed goals of this operation. The IDF atrocity TikToks are not a bug, but a feature of this system, not just allowed, but encouraged. After all, this entire 72 Virgins channel was sustained and populated with multiple posts daily, including confidential operational details for months by the very unit dedicated to putting out the version of the war and the messaging on the war that the official powers that be want to see propagated. I'm reminded of Haaretz's recent report from the Ethnic Cleansing Conference just held in Israel, attended by more than a dozen government ministers. According to their journalists there on the ground, the most rapturous response was reserved for exactly this type of content. Quote, the biggest response came for videos of soldiers in Gaza calling for the Strip to be resettled, shouting out that there are no innocents or photographing themselves with banners for the Qatif bloc, that is the former settlements in the Gaza Strip. So stop being puzzled by the mystery of IDF soldiers filming their atrocities. These same TikToks, which spark revulsion around the globe, are met with awe and admiration by the domestic population on whom Netanyahu and co depend on for their grip on power. The soldiers committing those crimes, they're celebrated as heroes. Now, it is cold comfort for the Palestinians who are being subjected to torture, starvation, mass killings, and complete annihilation of their civil society. But every one of these incidents makes it that much more difficult for the Israeli government to wriggle their way out of those ICJ genocide charges. How can you argue that Bibi's calls to destroy Amalek, or President Herzog's declaration that there are no innocent civilians, or Defense Secretary Gallant's comment that they are fighting human animals be taken as anything other than official government policy when the IDF is running a channel to glorify actions entirely consistent with these genocidal comments? How can you possibly view these comments and actions as fringe when they're being pushed as the official face of the war by the IDF propaganda unit? The genocidal snuff films broadcast by 72 Virgins are official government policy. The IDF.
They are. And I said that very, very early on when I started coming across all of these videos that were posted on Twitter that came from TikTok and perhaps Telegram. All of these IDF soldiers. And it really begged questions in my mind. How is it that they are allowed to post this stuff? They would have to have permission to post videos that show how depraved and how sick and immoral and immature they are. They have to have permission. So then you have to think, okay, why are the higher-ups wanting these videos posted? And you can still see them. They're still out there. They want people to hate Jews. The Zionists don't love Jews. The Zionists, a whole lot of them are atheists. They don't love you. You know, and I am, you know, I see it on my channel. I see it on other channels. I am so sick of seeing people, you know, just go after the entire group instead of recognizing, well, it's one of the reasons why I've played so many, you know, videos, read so many articles about, there are just a tremendous, how can we help you? Oh, I need the help. I sure do. Okay, but not right now. Not during a live. Could you please just hold off, maybe get me when I'm not doing a live stream, Google? Okay, thank you. So, the anti-Semitism is very real, and you can read it in the comments and everything like that. But certainly the anti-Semitism that they're talking about on mainstream media and government officials and leaders, no, that is crap. Unfortunately, it's dangerous crap. Yeah, I think that you're right, Marsha, that there are a lot of Israelis who unfortunately trust their government. Look at what happened during the pandemic, Israelis. How could you possibly trust your government? All right. Oh, boy. But there's a big difference between a Zionist and Jew. And if people can't see that there's a difference, there's something wrong with their brain. I just can't, it's a horror. It's just we're living, it's a fucking horror show that we're living. Well, everybody despises the shadow government. The shadow governments operate in every government. So, I have just a little bit more. Thousands left in limbo as King County in Washington. It's Seattle. Eviction cases pile up. This is happening more and more. There are so many eviction cases piling up all over the country.
King County is in a serious hole. Right now, judges, attorneys, and local leaders are trying to triage and find a solution to a staggering backlog of eviction cases.
Fox 13's Lauren Donovan found out thousands of landlords and tenants are left in the lurch without resolution for months.
Prior to COVID, if a tenant failed to make payment, they'd be out of there, evicted within 6 to 7 weeks. But today, if a landlord files what's called an unlawful detainer, a judge won't be hearing that case until the new year, 2025. Yeah, that's how bad this backlog is.
To get killed over an eviction, that's just outrageous.
3 days before shots rang out at this high-risk eviction order in Auburn, ending in a defiant tenant dying at the hands of police, we told you about King County's snowballing eviction problem.
So there's a pretty enormous backlog.
Falling further and further behind.
Judges, attorneys, and local leaders are all in agreement.
So if you're a landlord and you're trying to evict somebody, it's going to potentially take months to get a hearing date.
But the last year has been particularly bad.
The figures vary depending on who you talk to, but it's estimated anywhere between 2,200 and 6,500 cases remain unresolved. At this rate, roughly 600 eviction requests are coming in every single month.
It's created a massive backlog, and it's all coming to a head at once.
How did things get so out of hand? Experts tell me the county is experiencing an anomaly that flows from the pandemic.
There was a decent safety net over the last couple of years due to COVID.
But when the eviction moratoriums expired and the federal dollars dried up, a perfect storm was created. King County Councilman Reagan Dunn contends.
But there are also people who are gaming the system. There are serial squatters. There are people that know the rules. They know the difference between right and wrong. They don't care. They've also found ways to stay in their units longer because of legal counsel now representing them as a new law.
People like Edmund Witter with the county bar's pro bono services. He staunchly disagrees with Dunn. Right now, he's got a list of 1,500 renters to represent, but lacks the bandwidth to provide all the legal representation the state requires.
Is we're seeing a crisis for American households. Cost of living is too high, people cannot afford housing, and they're getting crushed underneath it, and that's why we're seeing record numbers of evictions.
They both agree there's a problem, but remain at odds on the solution. Councilman Dunn just proposed speeding up the process by spending more than $1.3 million taxpayer dollars to increase the number of staff and court commissioners.
We are going to be seeing more and more. The numbers are going to be staggering, and an awful lot of Americans will just turn their heads, ignore it, not wanting to understand. It's the economy, stupid. New lawsuit filed over Salt River horses. You know, that's another thing I'm just so tired of. I'm tired of Americans. They're control freaks. They want to control other Americans. They want to control the four-leggeds. They just want to control. As if they are the superior race on this planet. Human beings, please. We're so low, it is frightening. But what they're doing to horses, what they're doing to wild animals, it's just heartbreaking. And then they claim that, they're destroying the environment. You're destroying the environment. How about go after the two-legged destroying the environment all over the place? How about go to Washington, D.C. and the EPA? How about them destroying the environment? How about the FDA destroying the environment? How about the Department of Energy destroying the environment? And the list goes on, right?
Lawsuit is going after the beloved Salt River wild horses. Environmental groups behind the litigation claim that the horses are damaging the land and forcing other animals out. But the group that cares for them says that is far from the truth. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly spoke with both sides about the situation and tells us what the future could look like for the horses. Chase?
Caribe, those behind the lawsuit want to make it absolutely clear they're not trying to get rid of the horses by the river, but they do believe the population has to be reduced significantly. It's a busy Memorial Day at the Salt River, but it's not just cooling off in the water that brings people here.
I think a lot of people like watching the horses.
The Salt River horses.
Always expect to see the horses.
You're likely.
By the way, this is Arizona.
To see them because there are between 300 to 400 of them near the river. And to certain environmental groups, that's a problem.
It's an area that's not going to sustain more than a few horses.
Robin Silver, the co-founder of the Center for Biological Diversity, along with other groups, filed this lawsuit against the U.S. Forest Service, claiming it has failed to come up with a science-based method to reduce the horse population, saying it's led to areas of the land being decimated by the horses and forcing other animals in the area to leave because of it.
They're needing to be artificially fed because there's not enough forage in the area.
He believes if the horse management group didn't feed the horses,
we would have mass starvation.
Silver made it clear.
Nobody's trying to get rid of all of the horses.
But did say the 400 horse population needs to come down to less than 100.
The state needs to come up with a science-based management plan, one that won't continue perpetuating destruction.
Simona Netherlands, president of the Salt River Wild Horse Management Group, disagrees.
You can clearly see on the green hills out here that this is not a decimated environment.
She believes the claims in the lawsuit are over-exaggerated, that the horses actually help preserve the land. Netherlands also says her organization's population control methods are working, going from about 100 foals a year to about 2.
It actually lowers the population without ever removing one horse. And that's the humane way to do it.
Believing that getting rid of any one of these horses isn't going to help anyone or anything.
They're really Arizona's treasure, so they shouldn't be treated like trash.
Chase,
for wild horses, they looked very beautiful, and they're obviously cared for quite nicely. Yeah, but these kinds of people, let's just say this guy would never be a friend of mine. I can just tell by his, the way he speaks. All right, I can only play just a little bit of this clip. I am going to post this link, and I sure hope that y'all hear me? Y'all circulate it. This young woman, well, you know that shark thing that came out in 2020? Put her in this chair permanently for life. And what did the Canadian government suggest? Maid. Kill yourself. Okay. This is how... I'm sorry. The people in all Western nations need to rise up. They need to rise. They need to rise up. Get rid of the evil that's taken place here. It's too obvious. Smacks you in the face every single day.
Please stop before you scroll.
Oh, can't play that. Because she tells why she's in this chair.
Media. If you do not believe this story or would like medical proof, you can go to my website at www.opkayla.ca. That's www.opkayla.ca. The Canadian government has left me fending for myself without the necessary treatments. Instead, they offered me MAID, which is medical assistance in dying.
Okay, that's all I can play because this is YouTube. All right. Wow. I guess I should be happy that I'm not desensitized. Look how young she is. This is now her life. Wanting some kind of treatment or help from her government, and they give her MAID. Kill yourself. Medical assistance in dying. MAID. We'll just clean up all of the trash. The trash is the government officials. I'm really having sometimes I just really, I'll post the link to her website as well. That's the help. Kill yourself. Is that not outrageous? Is that not outrageous? Is that not evil smacking you in the face? Can you hear it? Can you feel it? I know. Something's terribly wrong. Something is terribly wrong. That the people, whether Canadians or Americans or Brits, Scots, whatever, Aussies, I'm not talking about everyone, clearly, but that we have gotten to this place means that the brains of the people in these countries are really messed up. My God. All right, I'm going to end this. I have more, but I will post a link to, if you don't know Dr. Sunil, copy I want. You might want to, oh God. I subscribed on Never Lose Truth, not this channel. All right, so very practical advice. He's a doctor and doesn't want to go to doctors. He's a doctor who speaks the truth about our fabulous medical industry. But here look, a lot of what it comes down to now is, do you have the money? Do you have the money? If you have the money, you might be able to buy products, you might be able to buy blood tests that you're not going to have to go to a doctor for. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have money, but if you have money, you can trust. I don't forget those who are still well off, okay? So, the link is in the chat. He's talking about, and he posts a lot of videos, you know, and he speaks very open and honestly about his profession. But he does offer a lot of very good advice. So that's why I am recommending him to you. Wow. What I'm watching here, is this how delayed the live streams are? Because what I'm seeing is the horse video, and we've moved beyond that. Is this how delayed the stream is? Because that's quite a delay. Okay. All right, so yeah, we're definitely going to see more and more people who just never feel okay. And we have to adjust to this new reality that we have, where we no longer have healthy Americans. Now, I'm speaking in generalities. Don't get all freaked out. You know, if you're well, good for you. You're lucky. But with all of the toxins, with all of the poisons that we are subjected to, with all of the electromagnetic frequencies that do seem to be ramped up quite a lot, with all of the emotional heartache that is going on, with the economy, with the stress, with everything that's going on. There are going to be people who just don't feel well. And we have to adjust to this new reality, to give some compassion, to help people out, to acknowledge that they're not feeling well, to help them out, if you have friends, if you have family members, because I'm sorry, Americans on the whole have been an extraordinarily judgmental people. And it's time to get off that. Anything that interrupts their comfort. Hey, I don't want to hear about this, and you're just a complainer, and you're just this, and you're just that. Enough with that. Enough with that. That only makes the person feel worse. It doesn't help them. And we need to be of help. Yeah. We're going to see a lot more people who have chronic illnesses. People who are disabled and are in need of assistance. All right. So, live honestly and speak honestly. I'll beg for that. Please. Don't do stupid stuff that causes drama. For other people. A whole lot of people, I guess, like drama. And that gets us only further and further into the darkness. We've got to stop that. And I am speaking about experiences that I've had just recently. Enough. Mind your own business. Don't do anything without getting permission from the person. Stand up, be an adult. Do the right thing. On that note, I say be very, very safe. Be safe. Good. They do seem to have lessened the, though, look at these frequencies that are literally extinguishing this supercell right here. The Lubbock, I think it's Lubbock area. Look, they're hitting it with frequencies and boom, goes away. Boom. Okay. Nice. Yes, they can. They can use frequencies to eliminate all of these. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this line of, yes, nanobots. And look at this throwing off a supercell into northeast New Mexico. Look at this throw off. All right. Stay safe, everybody. And I say to you, good night and good luck. Ciao, guys. Are you doing okay? Can I do anything?
No, I'm just trying to get this down by laying down. So they say